Everyone listen, I watched Godzilla -1. I'm going to try and keep this brief. No promises. Also, I'm cold. Hence the blanket. It cannot be understated how much of a Godzilla fan I am. People who know me know this. People who watch my stuff probably know this by now. And I'll be honest with you. As much as I was excited for -1, I've been excited for other Godzilla stuff more. I knew Toho loved this movie and was very proud of it. I knew that their director was really good and beloved in Japan, and I know that he loves Godzilla. It's not even the first time he's done stuff with Godzilla. He's directed stuff with Godzilla in it, but never a Godzilla movie. But mostly I did not have a frame of reference for any of this stuff. So I didn't know what to expect, really. And I have been burned so often in the past that it is just hard to get your hopes up anymore, you know what I mean? Guys, I was not prepared. What's crazy is not that I saw what is probably objectively the best Godzilla movie that's ever been made. And I would even go so far as to say one of the better movies made this year, in 10 years, maybe in a long, long time. It's how this movie manages to pull off being as astounding as it is. I wasn't just deliriously happy by what I was seeing, I was stunned in just seeing how it was pulling off what it did. Because this is the first Godzilla movie, possibly ever, that delivers on all fronts. It deserves every 10 out of 10 that it gets. There is literally something here for everybody. And as much of a fan as I am of the franchise, I can't say that about pretty much any other movie in the franchise. It's not just the monster action. It's not just the special effects that rival some of the best things that Hollywood has put out recently. It's not just the production value, or the sound design, or the set design, or the way everything was freaking beautifully shot, or the amazing effing score. It's not even things I usually care about the most, like the story and the commentary. It was the freaking human characters. You heard me right. The thing that is usually panned the most in in monster movies in general. Sometimes you're even hard-pressed to remember characters' names in Godzilla movies. I loved every single character in this movie. And I knew if a single one of them bit the dust, I was not going to be okay. The human element and the cast that is playing all the characters, it's not just one of the best parts of the movie. It's an effing selling point. It is one of the single biggest reasons to see the movie. But you don't care about any of that, right? Godzilla. I'll be honest, when I first saw the design for this Godzilla, I was not super duper impressed. But seeing very still images of it just does not do it justice. This Godzilla in action, it's not just huge and destructive, it's effing scary. Something I've wanted my whole life. Now, Shin Godzilla is scary too in its own way, but Godzilla in -1 is a whole different animal. Godzilla in -1 is an infuriated act of God. It is vengeance. It is retribution. This is a vengeful, terrifying Godzilla, the likes of which this series has never seen before. Hyperbole. I don't care. And to do that, Toho let Godzilla emote. I never thought I'd see the day. I know people are browbeating and judging me. I don't care. This was not just another Godzilla movie for me. This was not just another movie for me. This was low-key a bucket list moment. I wept. In a theater full of strangers. I wasn't the only one either. Not just because it scared me sometimes. Not just because there were people I cared about in this movie that were constantly in peril. Not just because these are human beings having some of the most incredibly human stories I've seen in a long time. At about the halfway point, the midway point of this movie, I was openly crying because I realized this is finally the Godzilla movie I always wanted. I thought I got that with 2014. I thought I got that with Godzilla King of the Monsters in 2019. I thought I got it with Shin Godzilla. But this is it. This is the Godzilla movie that, if given the chance, pleases everybody across the board. The kind of Godzilla movie everyone gets something out of and gets excited by and inspired by and touched in the heart by and gets scared the hell out of by. A couple of nitpicks, even though they're basically not worth mentioning. There is a tiny lull in the second act and the beginning of the third act, but the human characters are so good, the human story is so good, it basically doesn't matter. And I love Godzilla fighting other monsters. There are no other monsters. This movie doesn't need one. Although, if they make a sequel to this, they should probably do that. Basically, go watch this as soon as you can in a theater. It deserves to be seen on the biggest screen possible. It, sadly, puts all the American monsterverse stuff to shame. Which reminds me, I've not seen Monarch yet. And any day now, Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire, is going to drop a trailer. I just know it. It's just not going to be the same. Also, my wife loved this movie. That should tell you something.